It was pretty surprising to me. I thought everybody was enjoying that as much as we were. And it turns out that's not the case. Not the case at all. Like, Lucas, you hear that. Does that evoke any emotion in you, or are you just kind of like, yeah, that's kind of what I expected afterwards?
It's absolutely what you expected afterwards. I said all season long, with how brash this team is, if you don't win the national championship, expect this type of reaction. So anybody that was surprised, if you're a Tennessee fan and you're waging Twitter wars with other fan bases because you're pissed off at how they responded to you getting bounced, this was always what was going to happen if Tennessee did not win it all.
There was a funny tweet, and we'll get to your phone calls here in just a second, 615-737-1045. Oh, look at that. Josh Pate in the chat. He says, I was wrong Friday. Tennessee baseball was a failure this season, from Josh in Germantown.
Like and subscribe while you're here, Josh.
Yes, if you are in the YouTube audience, make sure you also throw a subscribe or a follow on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel to help our buddy Josh Pate. His goal is 100,000 subscriptions on that page before SEC Media Days, which is coming up in just about a month. But anyway, before we get to the phones, Action Network had this tweet yesterday. Tennessee title drought. Predators and Titans have never won in 49 combined seasons. The Volunteers haven't won a title since 2009, which was in women's indoor track. A college football championship since 1998, and the men's baseball and basketball teams have never won. And there was reaction to that, mostly because Vanderbilt, who has most recently won championships in multiple sports, not just baseball, bowling. There was just a golf national champion.
Tennis, women's tennis, I think.
Yeah, pretty recently, like within the last, 5 to 10 years, basically. Vandy fans pissed off because they can't even get mentioned when the shade is being thrown at the entire state of Tennessee. That's trash. 615-737-1045. Phil in Clarksville is up first. Good morning, Phil.
Hey, guys. Buck, you just recently was talking about leaving Burns in. To me, I don't think I've ever seen a season that I've seen better lineup moves by a coach, major league, college, anything. Vitello was spot on this year with his moves.
Sure.
Until yesterday, of course. But and then the other thing, and the guy you just played the recording on, Vitello has a loaded lineup on both sides because he's such a player's coach, but it's kind of double-edged. I thought he let it get away. I thought his support in the Vandy series with the illegal bat, after that, you've got the Tennessee players just talking trash to every opposing crowd, opposing teams, getting up, standing in faces. I thought he just kind of let the cockiness and bashfulness get away, and I think that's what, in the end, kind of cost him. So just my take on it. I love Tennessee baseball, love Vitello, but I think he needs to rein them in a little bit.
Thanks for the call, Phil. We appreciate it. 615-737-1045. Man, was that intentional? That the music started to play as soon as he brought up cockiness being the Vols' ultimate demise?
I started playing at 60 seconds.
That's right. Look at you, back on your game, back in the saddle. So I don't think Phil in Clarksville is alone in that opinion. That overconfidence, whether you want to call it cockiness, whether you want to call it sports karma, what you just heard the clip from Mincy saying, do you believe in sports karma? Because this is a conversation, this is a debate that could be had until the end of time, regardless of sports, right? Did hated team X that was too boastful, beat their chest, the disrespectfulness of Jordan Beck slamming the bat down.
The spike?
In game 2. That made me I loved that. Loved it.
It was a lot more satisfying to watch than a bat flip. Let's have more bat spikes over bat flips.
Oh, they're done with that bat. Made me so happy to see. But I think that after the fact, the easiest form, and I'm not criticizing Phil or anybody who thinks like that, but I think the easiest form of day after criticism is, they should have seen this coming. They should have carried themselves better. They got ahead of themselves. They were feeling themselves just a little too much, and it cost them in the end. I think it comes to it's almost impossible to say that a result comes down to one decision. But yeah, Tony Vitello had been great with lineup changes all year long, and he botched it. in the Super Regional, which is unfortunate to see.
And mistakes down the stretch. A throwing error to first from Trey Lipscomb. That would have ended the inning at a 4-3 game. Big difference between 4-3, 7-3. A base running error from Drew Gilbert. So there were a lot of things at the end.
Oh, that Drew Gilbert where he tried to get second. That was just so uncharacteristic. And they haven't been in that position very often. So it was kind of interesting to see who was on the broadcast yesterday. Tom Hart
and Kyle Peterson.
Yeah. And I believe Tom Hart asked Kyle Peterson, do you start to see Tennessee erode a little bit in this moment, because Notre Dame had gotten up on them. The momentum had clearly swung. I mean, it hurt extra bad if you're a Vols fan to hear Link Jarrett, the Notre Dame coach, talking about how beneficial Lindsey Nelson Stadium was for their style of play. Because, I mean, it's not only the biggest upset in college baseball this year, but it may well be the best series that Notre Dame has played this